How's it going, guys? We have something very cool in the works. This is my 10 horsepower snowblower engine that we've accommodated to fit on a bicycle. If you haven't seen in the last video, we previously got the engine mount all installed. This thing is sitting relatively flat, and we're going to be doing some additional modifications to make this thing safer, if I can even call it that, because, I mean, just look at it. It's quite literally a death trap. We have here quite a few parts that I've laid out that we're going to attempt to be installing today, so let's run through what those are. First of all, we have an old rear rack that I acquired from a junkyard, and we're going to be, it's mostly for just looks, honestly. I don't really use the rear racks, but it is functional, it's all there. Moped taillight that we're going to be adapting to hopefully make it fit. A 24-inch rear wheel that has a disc brake mount. That's the main reason that I want to use it. Alright, so let's get this bar in place. So as you can see, it does clear the engine quite well. This is a 30-degree bend, or approximately, and it's just an old BMX fork. So you can see where I've drawn a little white line. We're going to cut the bar right there to get rid of this little bracket, and we'll go from there. So to do the cut, I'm just going to be using my recip saw. You can use an ankle grinder, but this doesn't fling a whole lot of sparks, so that's why I prefer this. Didn't have to cut me off. Clamping it in the vise would actually be a valid way to frickin' hold it. So I just was messing around a little bit, and I noticed when I was mounting this up that this bar, once I like flattened it out in the vise because it was oval, actually slides into here. So that's quite convenient because not only are we going to have a super strong point here, we can simply do pie cuts and then lower the bar back down so that it ties in with the seat post. So that's going to work out pretty nice. So I'm just going to do some pie cuts. If you don't know what those are, I'll draw them out in the paper in a sec, but we'll get it to arch down. So to make things a little bit simpler, I've drawn it out here on a piece of paper. So when you have a standard pie cut, you're going to take your angle grinder and you're going to do two cuts like this. Then you can simply bend the metal like this, like outwards. When you have a reverse one and you go like this, you can bend it inwards, if that makes any sense. So we're going to be doing the standard pie cut in order to lower our bar, and then we can do some fine tuning on the end to make it fit the seat post. Just a little bit of reinsurance. I'm going to put a 1/4-inch self-tapper through the steel just to hold everything together, so that way we don't lose our angle or anything, or our pie cut angle, stuff like that. But I just wanted to note something. You guys might find it funny. Who in the hell named that? So I threw some tack welds onto the red tube just to see what we're working with. So as you can tell, I don't like how high this bar is. I do like the very sharp frame bend. So what I'm going to do to accommodate that is have something more like this. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to angle the cut of this one right here so that it lines up with the seat post well. And I'm just going to have to shave the front slightly so that we can accommodate this very nice uniform frame look, opposed to this where it's way too high. This will also interfere with your legs and stuff like that, so if we have it lower, then it'll look better in my opinion. These are by far not the best welds I've done, but they're functional. They're going to hold just fine. So now our next plan of attack is re-angling the front mount. To keep you guys from not getting bored of creating whatever the heck this is, I'm going to install the new handlebars and the rear rack. So here's what we're left with. Now, I am fully aware that the welds aren't perfect, but I can guarantee you this bar right here is solid. It's part of the bike. It's not going anywhere. The engine itself, absolutely solid. So we got that good there. One thing you may notice is how the top tube comes out to the left and then swerves back in to connect to the bike. I had to do this because, unfortunately, when I mounted it straight on like you're supposed to, I couldn't get my gas cap off. So I was like, oh, how am I supposed to fill that up? So I slammed it over all the way, but then my oil cap was also obstructed, so I had to account for that also. So we're good now. We can get all the fluids in the engine. So that's pretty much going to do it for today, guys. It's very cool to repurpose one of these old bikes to make it something kind of like a rat rod. But in part 3, we're going to be doing the disc brake swap and putting the 26-inch front end back on it. And then from there, we can give it a paint job, maybe go back with the metal cast purple or something, and make it look pretty sweet. If you enjoyed what you saw, make sure to give me a comment down below. And thanks for watching.